Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
So we're meeting here to celebrate Deming sir's birthday.
Absolutely.
With that, you being a mentor, we started that last year. I'm sure you would have started that years and years, decades ago, celebrating Deming's Day.
Well, this was, I think I mentioned this before, but I was doing that quality management course. And I'll never forget because, I had just read my first book on Deming, which was Mary Walton's book, which was titled The Deming Management Method. And I remember that's when it was the month of September when I bought that book. And when I saw that his birth date was 14th October, it stuck in my head. Wow, I let me do something on the 14th of October. And I was still a student at that time learning quality management. And it was I'll never forget the day. It was a Saturday. And we used to have our lectures from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Right. So 6:30 to 8 was the first lecture, and then 8 there was a short break of 5 minutes, and then 8 to 9. So the gentleman who was our secretary in the institute, he came to check on us while the lecture was going on. And as he was leaving, I just excused myself and walked out. And I said, "Sir, today is W. Edwards Deming's birth anniversary, and if you could just announce that in the class, it'll be nice." So he turned the tables on me and said, "Why don't you announce it, and why don't you talk about Deming?" And I had no clue, this was coming. And then after the lecture was over, he was there and he said, "Balaji wants to say something." And all my own classmates were there. We were 34 of us sitting in the class. And then he said that it's today's Deming's birth anniversary. And I think, "Balaji, why don't you say something?" And so I did what I could, but it was terrible. I got all the chronology of events wrong in his life. If I were to look back, I think I literally, he must have turned in his grave, listening to what I said that day. But that was the beginning, and then we decided to have Deming, celebrate it as Quality Management Day the following year. And then it came to be known as Deming Day from 1998. So that's been the journey. So ever since, every year, I think till 2014, am I right? 14 or 15, I have celebrated it in different places, but we had it at the Indian Institution of Production Engineers, then the Pune Management Association. The last 2 years during the pandemic, we went online and did it with the Pune Management Association and the National Center for Quality Management. So yeah, that's how it's been.
Why didn't I meet you 20 years ago?
You wouldn't have liked me.
Now I love you. Now you're my mentor now. So let me introduce you formally. Okay, and I hope I get this right this time. Okay, I thought I'll get the smiling Deming for us.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, sir! Deming,
Yep.
sir. So you introduced me, and we celebrated last year. And then I said, let's do it this year. And nice of you, Balaji, sir, that you're joining me and being a mentor. You're going to talk a lot about a lot of things. And I have been studying very sincerely, but you know that I have not passed the 6th day of 12 days course by your mentor, Henry Neave. So today I thought I'd take a step further and go to the 7th day. There you are.
That's
the
nice.
Founder of Deming Forum, 1999. I will not forget that day because all the 3 nines are there. And I'm so proud that we have a Deming Forum of India in India. I'm so proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And then, of course, you're the advisory council member for W. Edwards Deming Institute. You've been there for quite some time. An honorary member of Deming Alliance and assistant professor operations in Balaji Institute of Modern Management. That's in Pune.
Yep.
And I've been very lucky, and you know how I got in touch with you is that when I heard 12 Days to Deming, and I approached, I signed in with a gentleman, Andre, in Canada.
That's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct. And Andre Kojuaka.
yeah, Andre. So Andre told me, "Are you crazy?" I said, "What happened?" "It's going to be at 3 a.m. in the morning." I said, "I'm going to go through it." So I said, "You can't." I said, "Well, what do I do?" He said, "There is a gentleman called Balaji Reddie." I said, "Where is he?" "He's in Pune." I said, "My God, he's just 3.5 hours drive from here. What am I doing in Canada?" And that's how I met. So,
Yeah.
so it was a real coincidence. We were destined to meet, and thank God we met. And thank you very much for being there for me and guiding me all this time. And I was just wondering what we should do. And today, and then I thought I have to. I've been very slow at studying Deming. I'm moving from what Henry Neave has developed for us, 12 days to Deming, just very deceptive. I've started somewhere around 9 months ago, 10 months ago. And I think I've reached the 6th day, and I moved from out of crisis, which I am always in crisis, out of crisis to new economics and back, and taking all the reference. So I said, let's take a step forward. And we have been talking a lot about, everybody talks about 14 points. They talk about 7 diseases, 5 diseases, 5+2 diseases. I said, I have not heard many people talk about the obstacles, which I was studying. So I'm going to stop sharing, and would like you to mentor me and make me understand these obstacles. And honestly, I have been studying, and I prove it to you. I've been studying. Because, here are all your 14 points, and
Wow.
here are your diseases, and here are the obstacles. And you can, I have been studying. So nobody can say that I have been putting up some cut and paste. I have been studying, sir.
No, you sent me the scans, and I was going through them, and I said, wow, that's nice.
So, but then what I'm going to share with you is from Appendix P of the 7th day from Henry's this thing.
That's right.
Yeah, just 1 minute, sir.
Yep.
Can you see me? Can you see my hello?
Yep.
Can you see my screen, sir?
No, you're not sharing the screen.
Okay, let me share the screen then. Share screen. I go here. Now, okay, now?
Yeah, okay. Now it's visible.
Okay, now what I do is I'm going to disappear. I'm going to just watch you talk to me about it. And I'm going to refer to my notes to ask you questions on that. You don't require anything. I got it right open over here. The first obstacles. I mean, this is obstacles.
Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to say something here. You know, you very rightly pointed out that, you know, first of all, people associate Deming only with 14 points, and I don't want to say anything. There are 14 consequences of his philosophy. They're not his philosophy, if you want to put it that way. And people talk about a Deming management method. There is no method. It's an approach. It's a different way of thinking, and that's it. And the way I look at the 14 points is, if you're, you know, for profound knowledge, if you're thinking the way he wanted us to think, then the 14 points will be an eventuality in your company. You know, you don't have to, you can't implement. You get what I'm saying? You can't start saying, I'm going to do 0.1 now, I'm going to do 0.2 now. You know, it doesn't work that way. It's an eventuality. It happens. It's a consequence of a different way of thinking. Now, that's one. But then the diseases are like an antithetical, you know, going in the opposite direction to whatever he propounded. And then came the obstacles, you know, the problems you're going to be facing. And he wrote this almost 40 years ago. But as you go through it, you'll see as relevant as they ever were. And if you talk about the other contributions, okay, there's 14 points, there's deadly diseases, there's the 16 obstacles. There's also what are called as the 9 heavy losses, 17 principles of leadership. That's what he gave too. And then the forces of destruction for an individual. Now, that's the fact that he put this all together, especially profound knowledge, because when he wrote it, the title of the paper was Foundations for the Management of Quality in the Western World. But when he presented the paper, it was incredible because everybody connected to it. And he didn't invent any of those sciences, whether it was systems, whether it was variation, the people, and theory of knowledge. But he definitely saw the connection. And what is amazing is that after he wrote that paper, all the experts from each of those fields connected to what he was saying and said that, yes, what you're saying is right. And he was only scratching the surface. He said you just need just enough working knowledge to know, to look at things around you differently. You don't have to be a PhD in each of those. Whereas what I see is, each of the experts contacting him were the so-called researchers in each of the fields. And we saw expertise in each of that, which is what is fine, but you tend to get deeper into the pit. Then you need to see the connections amongst all the 4 sciences. That's more important, right? So the obstacles, I saw only Henry Neave in all my years of interaction with people who learned with W. Edwards Deming and from him. I only saw Henry focus on this because when I brought him to Chennai for the Deming program, it was a 3-day program. We had a complete session on the obstacles, and I'll never forget this because I conducted it. Henry gave me the chance of conducting the session. People had to read the obstacle and give us an example of how they face the same thing. So here it is. So the first one, which he talks of, that people expect instantaneous results. They want something tomorrow. And he said that's not going to happen. Why don't you teach us what you did there? It doesn't work like that. In fact, when he was teaching things in America also, just like what he wrote in his papers, ceaselessly, he always said when he spoke about Japan that it was, he never said it was him alone. He always said that the Japanese took their own initiative, and he said that, Juran had an equal role to play, but somehow that got underplayed. I don't know. In the public discourses. Anyway, that's a different story. And he said that doing this, when he taught them quality, I think I should have I don't have it handy, but he said that I've just taught you the basics, and you need to go beyond this. You have to meet more, and you have to learn more, and you have to contribute more and take this. And he said, if you do that, I will be happy. So, to expect instant pudding was something that he said that people are expecting. Even today, I see that, people want results as of yesterday. They have this the great American phrase, right? When did you want this? I wanted this yesterday, And I don't know what to say. You don't get these things. Hazel Cannon, who is the president of chairperson of the British Deming Forum, she had narrated, she had shared something with me, how she started where she was in her company, and then how slowly and steadily things started building up. And it took her sometime 3 to 4 years to establish, and change things. I would say I had a similar kind of an experience in my company. So it takes some time. Don't expect instantaneous results. That's the first obstacle. If you, I would say, be patiently impatient when you're making such a huge change. So that would be the first obstacle, right? So yeah. Anything you want to say, Doctor?
Yeah, sir. And this obstacle, because just correct me if I'm wrong, that Deming was always talking about transformation. He was not talking about change, right? So this was the obstacle for the transformation. Am I right in saying that?
That's right. I mean, you can see here they were expecting. I told you they expected instantaneous results, and that's not going to happen. It's a paradigm shift, right? It's not just a tinkering around the edges or something. It's a paradigm shift, and that's what something that people just don't get. Anyway, right. So yeah, you could go to the next one if you wish, or you want to say something.
No, I like what was written over here. It says that give me the formula and build therefore.
Yeah.
So that was quite well put. So
yeah.
I'm just moving to the second one, and a search for example.
No, the second one is not the search for examples. You come to the third one. The second one, I believe, is people think that automation gadgets. Yeah, that's another big mess. I mean, today the new term is analytics, and the other thing is Industry 4.0, if you know what I mean. All right. And now what's happened is that the good thing, I think if Deming were to be resurrected today, both Deming and Juran, I think they'd be thrilled at how information is now being readily available, right? And how it's being collated and how it's being presented. But I think they would have been disappointed with the fact that people still don't know what to do with that data. I'd done a kind of a research, self-styled one in my own way, and I found that 43% of the people in industry don't know how to use the data. They have the data, but they don't know what to do about it. So that's where profound knowledge comes in. But yeah, that's the same thing you're seeing here, that automate, instead you fix the process, make it as the best you can. I think automation technology should be an eventuality and not to replace, unless it's something which is really, really necessary, if you know what I mean. All right. So that's one of the things that happened then, and I think it's happening even now, that people think automation is the solution. It's not. I'd like to quote Joseph Juran, who said, if you don't fix your process and then automate it, you have an automatically messed up process.
That's so true.
Yeah. So that's the second one. Yeah. The third one, search for examples. And that's cool. That's really, really mind-bending, because this came from Clarence Iving Lewis, Walter Schuhart, a person called Alfred North Whitehead. These are, I mean, if you know, Clarence Iving Lewis was the philosopher who wrote the book Mind and the World Order, which changed Walter Schuhart's life. And he asked Deming to read that book, and Deming said that he was frustrated. He read it, around 3-4 times, but he could not make sense. So Walter Schuhart said, stick to it. It took me 7 readings to figure out what this man was saying. Now you can imagine these are brilliant minds, and now people like me, when I started reading that book, I hit a complete roadblock. But Alfred North Whitehead, who was Clarence Iving Lewis's friend, Alfred North Whitehead happened to be Albert Einstein's teacher, and he was a mathematician. So his book and Clarence Iving, they said that empirical evidence is never complete. No matter how many times you carry out a process and how many times you've seen the result, it doesn't mean that the next time you do it, you're going to get the same thing. So seeing what someone else has done and just trying to, because no number of examples establishes any kind of theory, right? And that's why he said that people tend to look for examples. In fact, Deming, when the Japanese, heard of what he said, when he went to Japan and he drew that famous arrow diagram of his, and the top people were sitting in that room, and they asked him the same thing, that how many American companies are doing this, and he said none. And they said, how can that be? And he said, well, that's the truth. And I think I've read this in Akio Morita's book, where they formed a group of 8 and they went to America and they visited 20-30 companies and found nobody was doing what Deming was saying. And so they came back And they said, we need to see an example. And he said, why do you need to see an example? Why don't you be an example? And that was it. So what he was trying, of course, here is, people were trying to copy from each other. And he said, without real understanding, well, you'll be, it's not what they did to be successful, but why and how, why they were successful, why things are working in a particular scenario. Just looking that and trying to copy and paste it into your company does not work that way. You need to adapt and adopt. But for that, you need to understand and not just know. You need to understand. So that was the search for examples.
That's what it is, right? So, and then this, of course, is also very search for examples. For example, even for us, it's the same thing. They always say that, have you worked in health sector? Have you worked in this place? Have you worked in it? Show me what you've done. I mean, all of us are over there, right? So here,
I love
problems are different, right?
Yeah, you see this Steinway piano example, right? They bought the piano, ripped it apart, then bought similar components, and then put it together exactly like the piano, but it did not make music. It made anything but music. So they decided to, put back together the piano that they dismantled. And when they put that back together, they found that made no music. So it's not what the components are separate, it's what they do together. And you need to understand the purpose and then build upon that. So he said that's the way it is. So you can't just copy some example just like that. Yeah, our problems are different, definitely. He always said, yes, the problems may be different, but the approach and the way we look at things, I mean, the principles would be just the same, right? So, yeah, the laws of physics are the same everywhere. If you remember my cousin Winnie, are the laws of physics different in your kitchen? Have you seen that movie, My Cousin Winnie?
Yeah, I did, yes.
Yeah, so when he catches that guy on the grits, so, the principles are the same. So, your problems may be different. So, you need to, and that's why you need a different kind of a knowledge to look at things. But he always welcomed problems. He said, you should always welcome problems because a problem is something you did not anticipate. It's something that, you did not prepare for. So, yeah, correct. I think that's the fourth obstacle that people think.
This is excellence.
Well, what do I say?
We see it every day.
This obsolescence. Unfortunately, history is repeating itself. Even now, in the previous, because people used to think that efficiency is about output. It's not about output. Efficiency is about input. Because you'll get the same output from two different processes, one very efficient, one inefficient. But the resources required to make that happen differ based on if you're more efficient, you need lesser resources. And unfortunately, there were more people measuring productivity than trying to do something about it. And the measure included costing, which looked at money. Now, you can see there are more people measuring that. Now, nothing against finance or something as a function, but that's the scoreboard. And the game runs the scoreboard doesn't run the game. Right. And I feel that people are focusing too much on that. And these last 2 years have, I think have resulted in some things that have gone lopsided from what I can see. People this year, the number of people enrolling in our colleges, I teach at the university, right? It's a place called Balaji University, not named after me, by the way. But before people start thinking that self-indulgent, pompous jackass. But this is Lord Venkateshwara Balaji. But anyway, so now over there, I have more people registering for the finance course than for something like a marketing or operations. That means they're trying to they're getting lured by the fact that you can make a quick buck, but how? By manipulating numbers, by getting, if you're getting what I'm saying.
Yep.
Whereas the people, you know, and we are, if you look at it as a society, we glorify the people who make more money rather than people who make more differences and more sense. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Right? I mean, someone like all the people who are that, I mean, we take pride in that, you know. I mean, we talk about, look at the success of this man, his net worth is so much. This is, I saw this on the where was this? I saw it on a magazine cover. They showed on the, imagine a Forbes magazine with a chimpanzee, and he's stuffing his full mouth with bananas, and he's got 10 bananas in one hand, 10 bananas in the other hand. And somebody writes a comment, doesn't this look stupid? Yeah, but then when you put a guy like, when you put the person's name on the Forbes list of the richest man in the world, you celebrate him. He's doing the same thing. You know, so people are still going back, I believe, to, you know, what it was in the 60s. I'm seeing that danger. That and I hope that I'm proved wrong and everything changes back for the better. But these last 2 years, I think, made people, I don't know, that sit at home, work from home. You know, these were bad times. Let's not judge, you know, people by what happened, but that's the way it is, right? I think we need to shake the whole thing up. Something has to happen, and I'm sure there are people who are thinking the same way. That we celebrate people who are making money rather than celebrating people who are making a difference. So here it is, and he says that it's not, you know, the MBA which teaches how to take over companies, etc., and short-term goals. I mean, I understand that you need the low-hanging fruit and all that stuff, but you're not going to survive on that. I know, you know, you may need to see that. Maybe if you'd say that as that's evidence that the thinking does work, I would say fine. You know, you getting what I'm saying, doctor?
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm called in as a consultant, and I have been told this, that, you know, what you teach, what you're telling us, it takes a long time. He said, you're telling us to do a deep dive. We agree with that. But he said that, you know, these other guys who come in, they show us the low hanging fruit, you know, which also is important. It tells us, in fact, this is what the CEO told me. He said, taught me the importance that this topic is in, that this is important and you can make a difference. But he said that I hit a wall because I didn't know what to do next. And he said, when I met you and started having sessions with you, I began understanding. So he said that low hanging fruit thing, I think, is important to get management's attention. But beyond that, he said it doesn't help more than a certain amount. So that's I think in business schools, at least I'm making my attempt here at our college, that reminding people that yes, finance is there, you know, to show us what's happening, but that's the scoreboard, so that we can plan our next move. But then telling, you know, getting to do that and manipulate numbers, sorry, I don't belong there. So that's obsolescence. That we need to prepare people for the future and not for the past. So yeah, that's how it is. The next one, oh yeah, oh my God, this I can't even begin to tell you what's going wrong. There's absolute chaos, anarchy, and rubbish that's going on in the name of statistical methods. I mean, they're teaching the children how to crunch numbers, but you know, the making sense out of that is I don't know. And then the fact that with respect to time, things change, you know, chronology and things like that, and there's so many variables, and I don't know, they're just not, you know, people are teaching them how to juggle the numbers, but not beyond that. You know, the statisticians are a damned lot. You know, they're damned if they do it and they're damned if they don't. Let me explain this to you in an example what I'm saying. Okay, let's say that the company has a host of data, or they have something, and they said, let's hire a statistician. So, you know, the statistician's job does not replace your job. It only enhances it, right? So the two things. One is enumerative study, what Deming said, which is the number crunching. But analytic study is trying to find out the causal systems that made these numbers happen. right? And then work on them and either improve them or change them or whatever.
Mm.
Now, he said that suppose the statisticians come in and then they start crunching the numbers in the company and they draw the graphs and everything. The second part of this person's work is then to work with the people close to the process to find out why are we getting what we are getting, whether it's good or bad, we need to know. And when he starts doing that, then he's told to, hey, wait a minute, you're a statistician, do your job. Yeah, I am doing my job. But so that's the sad bit. People, they, so incidentally, Dr. M, I'll just remind me, I'll talk of something towards the end of the program. But anyway, so let's just come back. So this is one of the things, he was very pained, I think, with the statistical method. And I feel this is happening even today. All right, because I see it around me, what they're trying to teach, and people are just not helping. I mean, the other people who are teaching statistics also are just not helping. They're making it a number crunching exercise rather than trying to find or discover causal systems and things like this. It can be so powerful. It's so fantastic when you have today what is called as big data, but people don't use it properly. So yeah. So here we it. Oh yeah, the military standard and acceptance plans. One may think, is it used? It is still used. So I think he was right in saying so. That they had their time, they served their time, and they do have their own place. And in certain industries, perhaps they still do, But then he said that reliance on this is not right. Right? And it was invented for a specific purpose. And I think it's more than served its purpose. So we use it only where it's necessary. That's the best. That's the best thing I can say about this.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So standards change, right?
Yeah, standards should change.
Yes, should change. That's right.
Because if you want to ask me what the definition of a standard is, yeah, Dr. M, listen to this. A standard is an agreed upon. It says an agreed upon explanation. It's the best agreed upon explanation of any phenomena given our current level of knowledge.
Right.
So if our level of knowledge changes, the standard should change.
True.
So anyway, so that's that. So here we go. Now this is the eighth one. What can I say? The quality control department takes care, point the finger towards the quality, right? And they take, this is one of the things I used to, when I started teaching, there was a lull, actually, for around 2 years. We had the course going, right? So I started teaching in the course, and in the evenings I used to be regular. Then the course shut down. So I then got called sporadically to colleges and things like that. So whenever I used to go, I used to start, asking, what is quality? And then I started, collating the responses I got over a period of 2 years. I went to, I think, 20, 25 such lectures that I gave. And it was one of the things I got was responsibility of the quality control department. So yeah, it's so you can see there that what he's written there, provide hindsight, keep management informed, defective product, and costs of warranty and costs and all. That's another big misconception. When Dr. Juran invented the cost of quality concept, it was to shock the managers into believing that something needed to be done. Because why he invented that was that people have become very thick-skinned, to defects, and they thought 90% efficiency is fine, 90% is okay, and he wanted to show them that 10% is really terrible, and he converted that into money. Unfortunately, people think that it's only about money. He said that was never the case. It has been misinterpreted as that. So anyway, that's the quality control department. So that's the eighth. All right. Now this, I don't want to say anything. right? Really, I think we should shake ourselves off from all this. They know more. They know that if they do a bad job, that they'll be without their meal, without their meals tonight. It's we who make them do something bad, So I would. There's nothing. I rest my case here. I think he hit the nail on the head. One of the biggest obstacles. It's their fault. So I don't think we should do it that way.
Sure. Anyway.
So, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Balaji. The thing is, when I went through this, I'm now going again, and I'm getting a different dimension to many of the things that you say. But everything resonates with what I have been experiencing and what I'm experiencing even now, even today morning. So it is here, and people, yesterday somebody put up Deming who? So then I wrote over there, Deming why? Left it I just left it at that. There's no point going further. So false start. We all
that I tell that people with a lot of fanfare launch some. In fact, he's got a graph for this. The typical graph of frustration, it's then out of the crisis. If you can pull that up, let me see where it is. He's drawn a fantastic graph, a diagram that explains this. Where would that be? One of the later chapters. The exact page number. Just give me, I think I'll just look for it. Yeah. Okay, I think I found it. So this is chapter 11.
Chapter 11.
Yeah. It's figure number 33. Chapter on common causes and special causes. Figure number 33. The page number of what I have is different from what you could be having.
I can get
it's called a
figure.
There's a typical path of frustration, it says.
This one? Can you see that?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So can you see it says quality improves by removal of special causes?
Yeah.
And continued improvement is expected but will not happen. Yeah, so that's what he says. And he says wishful thinking. So that's what it says. He says a program of improvement sets off with enthusiasm, exhortations, revival meetings, posters, pledges. Quality becomes a religion. Quality, as measured by results of inspection at final audit, shows at first dramatic improvement, better and better by the month. Everyone expects the path of improvement to continue along the dotted line, as he says. Instead, success grinds to a halt. At best, the curves levels off. It may even turn upward. Despondence sets in. So, what do I say? The people expect things to happen in a certain way. There's no consistency, and especially I would say that there's no push from the top, because if that doesn't happen, it all starts petering out. I was lucky in that respect, Dr. M. I worked for 17 years in industry before I made the complete switch to academia. But my 17 years were with one boss. He used to be the chairman and managing director of what was called as Kirloskar Cummins, and then he became Director of International Quality at Cummins Engines USA, Mr. R.V. Ramachandran. And I had his backing every single time. So I had a great boss. I was lucky. So I don't know what it is, for top management not to be interested. My top management was bloody hell interested. And in fact, he used to get angry if I didn't do it right. He used to push me also. Deming, what do you know about Deming? Really? Can you tell me his philosophy in one sentence? So, yeah. So I think that push from the top and the commitment, the commitment that I've seen, I remember the quality audit. We had the ISO 9000 audit and things like this. And my boss was in America, and then he phoned from there, and he said, "I've asked, the people from home to send the car to pick up the auditor and this, that, and the other." He said, "You go with the car and this, that. How's everything going?" And I said, "Yeah, everything is fine." Then I said, "Would you be coming?" He said, "I'll try." And the next morning, he came straight to the factory from the airport. That gave such a boost to all of us. It was I think this false starts, are also a result of top people not being really interested. So things peter out after a while. So anyway, so that's obstacle number 10. Yeah, you could take it forward. Oh, get Minitab. Get the software called Minitab, right? And everything will get solved. I think both this 11 and 12 are both related now. Yeah. You have the data being captured in real time, but nothing. I think these, like I said, these problems still exist. I don't know. This man wrote it 40 years ago, but we still, computer mein hai. So anyway, yeah.
Oh God, this reminds me of ERP has been implemented. What happened after that? No, I won't go further, sir.
You won't believe, the ERP thing. Remember, we had such a bad concept of bill of materials in this country. You remember? We confused what is called a summary bill of material and bill of material.
Yes.
And then we entered data all wrong in the ERP.
And even now, sir, most of the data are first made in Excel and then uploaded to ERP.
Exactly. No, you can make out. See, it's not just you and I in the company. It's a simple thing, Dr. M. I mean, when you go to a DMart, to shop, and then you pick up, the buy one get one free. It's a simple thing. The part number for that should be different from the, a product being sold separately. You're getting what I'm saying?
Yep.
But when they beep it off, it comes like you buy one, get one free. Suppose it's for 50 rupees and you're getting one free. So effectively for 50 rupees, you should be getting two. But over there, it shows 100 because you've taken two. That's because the stupid ass did not enter into the bill of materials.
Correct.
So you may have all the greatest ERP system in the world, but bullshit. I mean, it doesn't work that way. As you say, I heard you say somewhere, where was it on LinkedIn? Bullshido.
David Thompson's Bullshido. No, that's right. There are a lot of bullshitters around. So I don't want to say let's focus on Deming now. Otherwise,
sure.
A lot of things that is happening. But I'm glad that I'm there to know that some bullshitters are happening.
Oh yes, they are.
So you have the unmanned computers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Intimidated by the computer. Take whatever the computer turns out. So intimidated. That's true. Even Steve Jobs had said that. It's intimidating because it involves electrons and you can't see an electron. Okay, let's go to the next one. What does it say?
I like what they said. They cannot tell it what the data or charts they need. Instead, they take whatever the computer turns out.
Correct.
But it's so true. I mean, he wrote
it's so true.
Ago.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not that these are outdated now.
But these obstacles are rarely spoken about anywhere. I mean, as you rightly pointed out. And you said Henry conducted a 3-day course on that, right, sir?
Yeah. No, the 3 days course on Deming and one whole session, which was in the afternoon. I remember on the second day in the afternoon, it was a session for around an hour and a half. There were some 45 people who were there in the audience, and we distributed the obstacles and split them up into groups, and then they had to speak. Each one had to speak about what they understood by the obstacle.
Oh God.
So, yeah. Yeah, this
requires
I mean, the specifications, the goalpost mentality, within the specs, it's fine. Again, we need to reduce variation. To hit the nominal and reduce variation rather than, just. If this was so easy, then everybody could cook with a recipe book, right? Right.
So did you hear that we looked at the Taguchi's loss thing?
That's correct.
Or it is in the zero defect. I don't know.
But he would always say the specifications and zero defects, they're related, the fallacy of zero. Because zero is compared to what? Zero is it's like what Bob Galvin did, he counted 1,000 pieces instead of 100 because the Americans were looking into percent. And then he made it per 1,000. If you remember, the percent has that percentage sign, and he made it per 1,000. So zeros, and they put the 2 zeros there instead of 1 dot. And then he made it 10,000, and then he made it, 100,000. Then he made it 1,000,000. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen people in big companies. My students every year they tell me horror stories about this. How the company says, "Oh, we're everything. We're Six Sigma. We make only so many defects in 1,000,000." And then this all began some years ago when one of them went to the backside of a company and they saw they were breaking the products. And he said, "What is all this?" He said, "No, those are the defects they found on the line. I'm supposed to get rid of them."
Yeah, I've seen them behind the tables.
Yeah. You want zero? We can give you zero. Here it is. Zero.
Good.
But if you want to see variation, yeah, there you see Taguchi loss functions, zero, and I would say both are related.
Yeah. But I was after you introduced me to Taguchi loss function, I mean, it made more sense to me. Although I thought I knew, there are many things here that I thought I knew. So, like I thought I knew the quotations that I used to put on Deming. I thought I knew, but now it becomes rather more difficult.
No, the thing about what you're doing, Doc, and that's why I'm amazed at your zest, because you have been doing this for more than 30 years.
Yes.
Right. And yet you say that you did not know and you're starting all over again. What do I say, Doc?
There's wasn't that Dunning-Kruger curve,
Yeah.
The more you do, the less confident you are. But then you look back and say, "Hey, I did this right there, but I didn't know the theory behind it. Now I know the theory. Oh, that's why I did it. Oh God, yeah, that's true." But then,
it is.
But then it's tough to. It's tough in the sense that I know I'm a little slow at this, but then I don't feel satisfied. To be honest, the day I really know how to plot a control chart, I'll fly to.
Oh yeah, I have to teach you that.
I'll fly to Pune.
No, I have to teach
I won't
you that.
drive down.
No, I'll have to come to Mumbai and I think sit with you and make you do this.
And that wasn't a threat that I'll fly to Pune. Okay, I'll come over to Bombay. So there goes the fallacy of a zero defect. And then you got this another, I mean.
Yeah, this, I think today things have got much better. I would say, okay, it is an obstacle in a different sense, though. Okay, because people are doing it digitally also, and I think a lot of options, but still, I would like to see some that people don't do away with this obstacle, because we do have resources at our disposal to go deeper than what our predecessors did, right? And this is fantastic. I'd like it to remain, and I would want to point it out to this generation that you have access, so please continue doing this. Don't and do it thoroughly. Don't miss out on anything.
Yeah, this is where I had posted Martik's law, where the technology is moving the double exponential rate, where the organization is going the logarithmic rate, and how do you fill up the gap? And I've been tossing around this because there's so much of both of them at times don't match, but then it's available. It all depends, as you said, to find what's the right technology needed for your organization, but the technology is available. And it is not digital. I love it. I was talking to this Japanese gentleman, Obe-san. I posted a couple of them, Japanese sculpture. He had put point, line, area, body, and recently I put up another one in which he talks about Nimawashi being a waste, and people challenged it. And then I put it up saying that 2018, Toyota themselves said that Nimawashi was a waste. So he said his father, when he went to the Gemba, he was laughing. He says, that looks like a Christmas tree that was supposed to be andon light. So I said, what are they doing with so many colors? They got only two colors. So he called it an andon light. He called it a Christmas tree. I mean, all what I'm saying is digitalization, putting lights, etc. I mean, I'm going on a different, sorry for that. But
no, that's fine.
Of where technology is to be applied and when, God, there's so much to be learned. So then let's go to the 16th. And
well, there you go. Anybody who tries to, well, if you knew what you had to do, you'd have done it by now. You don't know what to do. That's one of the first things, let me tell you this, Dr. M. When I started reading Out of the Crisis, Out of the Crisis took me 5 years to figure out what the hell he was saying. Okay. And by the time I started figuring out, I said, okay, wow, I've got used to his language because, his way of saying things and making you jump all over the book, And then came the new economics. Now, when I acquired the new economics, I thought I'd be able to breeze through that because it is half the size of Out of the Crisis, right? And so I started reading it, but a month into the book, and I couldn't figure out a damn dime. And I was getting frustrated, and then my wife and I hit upon a solution. She decided to read the book out to me. And that's when I began understanding a few things. And then I understood one of the first things he said in the systems thinking is when you're in the system, you become the system.
True.
You need to look at it from the outside. So the same thing here. Anyone that comes to try and help us must understand about our business. Oh, sure, we do need to understand a few things. But
you require domain knowledge. Yes. He says that also in this. That you require
knowledge. Subject matter knowledge. Subject matter knowledge.
Yeah.
But subject matter knowledge goes deeper inside the system. Profound knowledge comes from outside the system.
Yes.
So there we go. So that's it, Dr. M. 16 obstacles. And they're still as relevant as they ever were.
What did they say? I'm sorry. What did they say? Deming who?
Look, Doc, I've got little thick skin to do that.
I have been writing all this, and I really did not know how to get across to you. I said, I'm not going to type all this. What am I supposed to do? And I went to the doctor, and I came back, and I said, hey, I have Appendix B. I'm going to put Appendix B, but I have to ask Balaji sir whether it's okay. So the first thing I did was to check with you if it is okay. I want to remind you that you wanted to say something at the end of this program.
Yeah.
Recording.
Right. So, Dr. Deming gave those lectures in Japan in 1950, and they turned into a book, right? The little red book.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it went out of print. So I got hold of a photocopy at Henry's place in 2002. And then later on, I went through it and all, yes. But when we were celebrating the Silver Jubilee in 2018 of the Deming Institute, that's when I went there for the conference, right? And that was the time I asked that, why don't we resurrect this book? And nobody had a copy. So I was the only one who had a photocopy. And then I sent a mail to Henry and I said, Henry, do you have your copy of this? Because, I took it from you. And he said, I lost mine. So I was the only one who had the copy left. So something snapped inside of me and I digitized it.
Oh God, good.
I digitized it. I typed it out.
Oh.
I reconstructed it. And I made very limited prints and gave a copy to Dr. Deming's grandson. He didn't have a copy either. Now, when I gave it to Joyce Orsini, a lady there who's Dr. Deming's student, she said, where did you get this from? I said, well, I got it. It's a photocopy I got. She said, I have the original.
Oh my God. No.
Deming gave it to her because he was working on the 3rd edition of the book when he passed away. So she said, get back to India and give me a buzz and let's talk about this. So I said, I've done all the typing and everything. Why don't we, resurrect this? And she said, I don't know who has the copyright. So she contacted the JUSC. And they said, yes, we have the copyright, but they transferred it to her. And so we're working on the 3rd edition.
Oh, lovely. So don't forget
no, here's the original.
Yeah.
And it has some notes by Deming here. Let me show his handwriting. Where is this? Okay. Here it is. His beautiful hand. There it is.
Well, the last 4 lines, right?
Yeah, that's written by him. Changes. So I've been working on this. I've done, because it's now got 3 new chapters. So we've done most of the work, but she's going through the fine-tooth comb. There could be some reconstruction. So let's hope by next year
it'll be available to us.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, Deming. I mean, everything looks so real to us. Yep. Thank you very much, Balaji, sir.
Thank you.
Stop recording. Thank you very much for being there for me, Balaji, sir. And
sure,
this motivates me to accelerate. I'm going to accelerate. There's no lagging behind now. Thank you very much, sir, for being there for me.
Thank you.